The city of Palma, the capital of the Balearic Islands, is located in the south of the island of Mallorca, set deep in a broad bay. The site was colonized in distant times, and the most important Mediterranean civilizations have left their mark on it. Its history as a town, which stretches back for over 2,000 years, began when it was founded by the Roman consul Quintus Caecilius Metellus in the year 123 before Christ. Originally, it was a fortified camp. Apart from the name of Palma, given by the Romans, the only really monumental vestige of that remote civilization is the Almudena Arch, a gate in the city walls which has changed drastically over the years. In the 9th century, it was conquered by the Arabs, and what had been Palma became known as Medina Mallorca. A time of urban expansion and great cultural, social and economic splendour began, and would only be interrupted by the Christian conquest 4 centuries later. There are few remains now of that mythical city, but it can still be evoked in the alleyways which have a Moorish air to them, or by monuments like the so-called Arab baths. On the 31st of December 1229, after months of siege, the troops of King Jaime I of Aragon entered Medina Mallorca, opening up a new chapter in the history of Mallorca. The conquest signified the implantation of a new culture and a new religion, Christianity, bringing about profound changes in the physiognomy of the town, which was reconstructed along the lines of Western towns. The 13th century Romanesque chapels of temple have been preserved to this day, as is the case of the emblematic pictorial altarpiece of Saint Bernard. During the reign of Jaime II of Mallorca, the first monarch exclusively of this realm, the city grew in splendour and some of the most monumental buildings were erected, all of them connected to Gothic art. In the first decade of the 14th century, work on the cathedral started. The Almudena Palace was reconstructed and Belver Castle was built. Palma still has some extremely notable residential architecture dating from its modern era, thanks to the strength of maritime commerce and the local aristocracy. Renaissance art is well represented in the facades of Can Catlar, Can Olesa and Can Sales Menor. Commercial relations with the whole of the Mediterranean and with Italy in particular favoured the introduction of monumental aesthetics linked to the Mannerist style. In the first half of the 17th century, representative buildings such as the Consolat de la Mar, the facade of the Episcopal Palace, and the Town Hall were constructed, with some of the most famous local sculptors working on them. The same centuries saw the foundation of new convents as a result of the counter-reformist spirit, as well as intense artistic activity in the field of religious art. We should briefly highlight the doorways of Monte Sion and San Francesc, and the chapel of St. Nicolau de Tolentí in the church of El Socors. Throughout the 19th century, the city was subjected to significant urban restructuring, which still characterises the historic nucleus, with passages and streets containing good examples of the houses of the bourgeoisie and some illustrious civil buildings, The modernist style arrived definitively with the 20th century, introduced by famous architects like Antoni Gaudi, who intervened in the presbytery of the cathedral, and Lluís Domènech i Montaner, who designed the Grand Hotel, which was inaugurated in 1902. The contribution to modernism of local architects and master builders was also notable, with a large number of buildings being constructed on very central sites. There are many examples of regional architecture of that period. One of the most relevant works of contemporary architecture is the Church of La Porciúncula by the Mallorcan Josep Ferragut Pau. And finally, we should remember that Palma, like Barcelona, Valencia and Naples, is one of the 4 great historical cities of the Western Mediterranean, linked to the expansion of the Catalan-Aragonese crown during the Middle Ages. Its monumental category is expressed in its extensive historic nucleus and unique buildings such as the Mallorca Cathedral, one of the most important Gothic cathedrals in Spain.